Berlin. From PFC K. Vonnegut, Jr., 1210-2964, U.S. Army. To Kurt Vonnegut, Williams Creek, Indianapolis, Indiana. Dear people, I'm told that you were probably never informed that I was anything other than missing in action. Chances are that you also failed to receive any of the letters I wrote from Germany. That leaves me a lot of explaining to do. In précis, I've been a prisoner of war since December 19th, 1944, when our division was cut to ribbons by Hitler's last desperate thrust through Luxembourg and Belgium. 7 fanatical panzer divisions hit us and cut us off from the rest of Hodge's First Army. The other American divisions on our flanks managed to pull out. We were obliged to stay and fight. Bayonets aren't much good against tanks. Our ammunition, food, and medical supplies gave out, and our casualties outnumbered those who could still fight, so we gave up. The 106th got a presidential citation, and some British decoration from Montgomery for it, I'm told, but I'll be damned if it was worth it. I was one of the few who weren't wounded. For that much, thank God. Well, the Supermen marched us, without food, water, or sleep, to Limburg, a distance of about 60 miles, I think, where we were loaded and locked up, 60 men to each small, unventilated, unheated boxcar. There were no sanitary accommodations. The floors were covered with fresh cow dung. There wasn't room for all of us to lie down. Half slept, while the other half stood. We spent several days, including Christmas, on that Limburg siding. On Christmas Eve, the Royal Air Force bombed and strafed our unmarked train. They killed about 150 of us. We got a little water Christmas Day and moved slowly across Germany to a large POW camp in Mühlberg, south of Berlin. We were released from the boxcars on New Year's Day. Many men died from shock in the showers after 10 days of starvation, thirst, and exposure. But I didn't. Under the Geneva Convention, officers and non-commissioned officers are not obliged to work when taken prisoner. I am, as you know, a private. 150 such minor beings were shipped to a Dresden work camp on January 10th. I was their leader by virtue of the little German I spoke. It was our misfortune to have sadistic and fanatical guards. We were refused medical attention and clothing. We were given long hours at extremely hard labor. Our food ration was 250 grams of black bread and 1 pint of unseasoned potato soup each day. After desperately trying to improve our situation for 2 months and having been met with bland smiles, I told the guards just what I was going to do to them when the Russians came. They beat me up a little. I was fired as group leader. Beatings were very small time. 1 boy starved to death, and the SS troops shot 2 for stealing food. On about February 14th, the Americans came over, followed by the RAF. Their combined labors killed 250,000 people in 24 hours and destroyed all of Dresden, possibly the world's most beautiful city. But not me. After that, we were put to work carrying corpses from air raid shelters. Women, children, old men, dead from concussion, fire, or suffocation. Civilians cursed us and threw rocks as we carried bodies to huge funeral pyres in the city. When General Patton took Leipzig, we were evacuated on foot to Helixisdorf on the Saxony-Czechoslovakian border. There we remained until the war ended. Our guards deserted us. On that happy day, the Russians were intent on mopping up isolated outlaw resistance in our sector. Their planes, P-39s, strafed and bombed us, killing 14. But not me. 8 of us stole a team and wagon. We traveled and looted our way through Sudetenland and Saxony for 8 days, living like kings. The Russians are crazy about Americans. The Russians picked us up in Dresden. We rode from there to the American lines at Halle in Lend-Lease Ford trucks. We've since been flown to Le Havre. I'm writing from a Red Cross club in the Le Havre POW repatriation camp. I'm being wonderfully well fed and entertained. The states-bound ships are jammed, naturally, so I'll have to be patient. I hope to be home in a month. Once home, I'll be given 21 days recuperation at Atterbury, about $600 back pay, and get this, 60 days furlough. I've too damned much to say. The rest will have to wait. I can't receive mail here, so don't write. May 29th, 1945. Love, Kurt Jr.